Welcome everyone. Today we'll be looking at 5 of the best 4-star support characters in the game. Now why those 5 characters, you might be asking? You can see that in my party list over here, I have all of them in my party. And this is one of the biggest reasons we want to look at those characters, because they are more easier to be accessible to us as free-to-play and low-spending players. For example, Fischl will be free on the upcoming event with the Reconcile Star. We have had 2 free barbers already with each of the update patch, and also Bennett can be purchased in Paimon's shop for the exchange of Star Glinter. Sucrose and Diona are the units in the up banners in the previous limited banners for Klee and also for Child at the moment, so they are more accessible to most of the players. Coming over to our notes over here, I'll be showing each of the characters in their role as a support, also their passives, weapons, artifact set suggestions, artifact stat suggestions, and also any special tips for them. So we'll go through Diona, Fischl, after that we'll go through Sucrose, Bennett, and finally we'll go through Barbara. Barbara is surprisingly strong at Constellation level 6 guys, because she instantly revives any dead ally with a 15-minute cooldown. But that's not all guys. You might think it's a little hard to get Barbara to Constellation level 6, but with 1 free Barbara every patch, we will eventually get her to Constellation level 6 just by logging into the game. What makes Diona special as a support is that she can give us a shield with her Icy proc. She can heal us and deal coil damage to the enemy for a longer duration of the time, and also be able to give us movement speed, stamina consumption, and finally reduce the enemy's attack as the enemy enters her AoE, so she has the whole package. For the sake of free-to-play and low-spending focus, we will not go through any of the constellations, so assuming all of those characters pretty much have no constellations to start off with. Coming over to Diona's weapon choice, I want to show you guys a special video to show you guys how powerful it is with the sacrificial bow with Diona. And because I do not have that bow in my inventory, what I found is I found a Chinese video about how strong Diona can be with this bow. So credits to Penluo de Pingguo for showing us this. So what we want to see here is Diona with the sacrificial bow for energy recharge and also abilities in dealing damage to enemies. She will reset her cooldown. This only happens every 30 seconds, but when she hit enemy 5 times with her claw, the 40% becomes almost 100%. So coming to the video over here, let's have a look at this. So Diona is going to run around and she's going to come look at her E spell. She's going to use her hold E spell, which shoots 5 kickly blows and also gives her a shield. Notice the spell reset instantly. And this is so powerful because, this gives her 5 stacks of her maximum shield for 10-second duration, and she can use it again. And this is the reason why I recommend Sacrificial Bow for Diona for the best in slot. This can really dramatically increase her potential to give us Ice Shield, and also can be very effective in protecting our characters. After that, the Phenomenon's Warbow can also be effective. If we come over here, we can see the bow also gives us energy to recharge. But the downside is, Diona don't usually build for critical hit, so this won't be as effective compared to the Sacrificial Bow. For the artifact sets for Diona, we can look towards in bonus healing with Maiden's Beloved, or we can go with Nobilis Instructor for increased attack damage or the Elemental Mastery. We can also go with the Excel or the Scholar for the regeneration of energy for the whole team. Overall, Diona is quite flexible. You can go for healing, attack, elemental, so you can go for a lot of sets. We'll be focusing on the artifact stats for energy recharge, HP percentage. You can also get some flat HP, but that is not as major as the first 2. The goal is to scale Diona with her shield and also healing with maximum HP as we go. Now you might be wondering, at what instance is Diona not as a great support on the team? This only happens when you have both Chi-Chi and Jin on the team, because both of those characters can heal very nicely and they can deal some decent damage. Especially when Chi-Chi is also cryo, she can overtake Diona if you also have Jin on the team. This means you have 1 healer per party for 2 parties for the Spiral Abuse. Now if you haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so. Make sure you also turn the bell on for the latest news as I find more of them for us. You can see that we're really dedicated for Genshin Impact. We'll have builds, guides, tips, news and events updates for everything that's Genshin Impact related. Next up we have Fischl. Now if you don't have Fischl, keep in mind we'll be having an Unrecall Start event, and in this 2-week major event, you'll be getting a free Fischl at the end of the event. If you haven't seen the details of the event, do come over to this video. I have also spoke about the dates for each of the chapters for the event. The first chapter is on the 16th of November, which is tomorrow. I'll be making a lot of videos for the co-op event and also give you guys tips and guides on the event for the maximizing of our returns with the reason we spend. Now, unlike the other support characters, Fischl can also be a DPS character or a support character. If you're going for the DPS route, consider the top tier of the choices. If you're going for the support route, consider the second choice. So I've listed both of them. I try to differentiate them as well. So we can go with the physical damage with a compound bow. We can go with elemental damage with the stringless. Now the difference between the two bows is one will focus on the elemental skill with the stringless. The other one with compound bow can be crafted with a blacksmith. So one can be gadgeted, the other one can be crafted. Now, although Fischl can become a DPS character, I want to remind you guys there's a lot of other DPS characters out there in the game, so it might not be the best idea to build Fischl as a DPS character. I initially did get my Fischl to level 70, but as you can see, her attack is not as high compared to other characters, so although we can build her for physical damage, it is actually advisable to go with other DPS characters, but her skills do scale with her attack, so having higher attack is not a problem as well. This is because the Knight Rider, her electric bird, does scale with her attack damage, also electric damage, and this bird can be on the field consistently while she is swapped out, and this makes her such a powerful support. For the artifact set, I'll recommend the Bloodstained Caviar and also Gladiator's Finale for the physical damage or the attack and DPS build. For the Noblest, Obligate and also Instructor, we can go with increase the whole party with 20% attack or increase the Elemental Mastery. So depending on what your party need, she can be a support and a very powerful damage support as well. Coming over to the artifact stats, if you're building a DPS character, then consider the old critical rate, critical damage, attack percent, and physical damage or electric damage. For a support character, consider having elemental mastery and electric damage to maximize her damage with her E-spell, which can be very powerful because she can consistently deal damage while she is not on the field. Next up, we have Sucrose, who is one of the #1 elemental amplifier or the support. She is usually considered to be the top support character on the team for most of the elemental build. Whether it's the Luke with Pyro or Mona with Hydro, she can be very powerful. Coming over to Sucrose's passive details, you can see that she can give the whole team elemental mastery with 50 after triggering the spell effect, and also additional elemental mastery for triggering additional effect with her spells. So what that means is she really wants to build for elemental mastery. And also we can see that she has one of the top tier passives for giving us additional resource or discounted resource as we go with weapon enhancement. The 10% to obtain double the product means we don't have to spend as many product if we were lucky enough, and this effectively becomes a discount for the crafting system. For the weapons with the elemental mastery, we can go with Mappa Man or the sacrificial fragment. Both of those weapons are pretty nice simply because one of them can reset her spells, the other one increases her elemental damage and she will likely to grant a lot of elemental reactions. So both of those can work. The downside is we have to catch her for the sacrificial fragment, but we can craft the Mappa Man for her if we want to. The recommended artifact set for Sucrose will be definitely the Vedadenson's Vamir set. This is the best in slot. Not only does this set give Sucrose 15% anemo damage, this also lowers the enemy resistance by 40% when she triggers a spell effect. Now you can see I have Excel in the background. This is because we have had a video on Sucrose previously to talk about her in the clip banner. So if you want to see that video, I'll also attach that video to show you guys Sucrose in detail. Now if we cannot get 4 pieces of this particular Vedadenson's set, you can go with some of the Instructor set for increase of elemental mastery for the whole team, or go with the Excel set for the team energy gain. Those are pretty much transitional sets. Eventually you do want to get to the best in stock for her. In terms of artifact stats, we must look for elemental mastery. After that, we can go with energy recharge and anemo damage. Now when I first got Bennett, I thought he was a very weak character. What I thought was he was only good for expedition, and oh boy how wrong was I. So if we had a look at Bennett's burst ultimate, what he does is, not only he's going to heal our characters up to 70% of their health, also he's going to give everyone in the radius a bonus attack damage by his own percentage damage. So if he has high enough damage, he's giving everybody else his 56% attack damage. And this in return makes him a decent healer and also an attack buffer for the entire team. Keep in mind, he does scale with HP for the healing and also he scales with attack, so you can go for several stats. Now because we want to use Bennett as a healer and a damage amplifier, the weapon of choice will be energy charge for all of his burst spells, so the Fenari's sword and also the sacrificial sword are very good for him. Coming over to the weapons, you can see that the Vanilla sword requires him to have critical chances to trigger for more energy gain. This is okay, but what I prefer with the Sacrificial sword is to cast more of his E-spells, and by triggering the E-spells, he can gain more energy. Now, it is not a surprise that he will be going for energy buff support artifact set, so he can go with a burst spell increasing entire team for 20% attack damage with the Nobilis Obligate, or he can go for the Instructor for 120 bonus elemental mastery for the whole team when he casts his ultimate, which synergizes very well for his support factors. Now for the artifact stats, we definitely want energy recharge as much as we can. This is because he still have the problem to get his ultimate out. If he doesn't have his ultimate, he's not very powerful for the team. And for this reason, we want to get HP percent and also attack percent after energy recharge, which scales with healing and also bonus damage. Coming over to the Paimon shop with the Star Glinter, you can see that I have purchased a Bennett. This is because after making the guide and after thinking about it, I realized he's a very good character, and the ability to buy Bennett from the Star Glinter shop is making him an even better 4-star for us. Keep in mind guys, you still have 16 days to decide whether you want Bennett or something else. So there is no rush for us to buy Bennett right away. Wait for a few more days, wait for the next banner, realize if you need him on the team as a support, or if you don't, if the next banner has good units, then you can consider not buying him. So don't rush to buy him, but for me, I think I will use him for the Constellation 1. Another bonus of having Bennett on the team is that he's a pyro character. By having another pyro character, we'll be getting 25% bonus attack, and also 2 pyro characters gains more of the pyro energy particles. This in return gives us more energy recharge for Bennett. Even if he's not on the team, the other pyro character can be casting spells for him to gain energy. Now I would like to say I saved the best last, but in my opinion, the top few characters with Diona, with Fischl and also with Sucrose, they are very powerful. Bennett is more situational, and Barbara on the other hand is very direct and very situational if you need the healing. For the reason Barbara is one of my top 5 4-stars is because we keep getting a free Barbara each patch, and if this continues to go on, we'll be getting a Constellation 6 Barbara, which can be very good. The ideal weapon choice for Barbara will be the prototype Malice, which can be crafted at the blacksmith. Not only does she get the secondary stats for HP, and also casting an elemental burst now allows she to heal the entire party for additional HP. This is very nice because Barbara's burst spells does not have continuous healing, so having this item means she can heal for even further. Usually we'll be building Barbara for increased healing with the Madam's Beloved. It's very rare we build Barbara for anything else, and I kept those 3 just in case you want to try something else with Barbara, but ideally the best in slot has to be Madam's Beloved because her only job guys is to heal. You can of course go for the energy recharge for Barbara, after that go with HP percent and maybe flat HP. Because both of her spells scales with HP, we really want to get her as high HP as we can, and during harsh times we can switch Barbara in to tank a massive hit, then switch into someone else. And because most of us would have unlocked Constellation 1 with Barbara, whether she's on the field or if she's off the field, she still gets energy for her ultimate, and this can be very helpful at times if you're just missing a little bit of energy. Barbara's passive also aims to reduce stamina consumption and also increase the healing duration for her E-spell, as the character that is under the E-spell receives energy orbs or particles which can extend up to 5 seconds of extra healing. Now because Barbara's E-spell applies the wet status to our characters and the enemy, we have to be careful to not get frozen because of cryo attacks. At the same time, I'd love to have a cryo character like Chilring or maybe having Diona on the team to freeze enemies because of my cryo attacks. Because we have a consistent debuff of Hydro for 15 seconds, this can be very powerful. Some of the bigger monsters that cannot be controlled by Venti or Sucrose with the ultimate can be frozen by Barbara up to 6 seconds, and this can be a very powerful factor for me with Spiral Breeze. I'm still working on the Spiral Breeze guides, currently with Floor 10 and Chamber 2, so I'm still working on those. I'll have the guide ready for us very soon, hopefully. Now we did talk about Barbara's Constellation 6 at the start. We only look at this because it is likely we're getting more Barbara in the future. The reason being is, as new players come into the game, they're going to miss out on the previous Barbara, and the developers want to give the best healer in the game to everybody so they can achieve all the content with her. In order to do so, they'll be giving everyone 1 Barbara each update, and this is not confirmed, but it's very likely we'll be getting Constellation 6 Barbara eventually. So at Constellation 6, she can fully heal a dead ally to 100% HP. This does have a 15-minute cooldown, but this can still be very powerful. If used correctly, you can pass a Spiral Boost, which usually we wouldn't be able to pass. Now before we go into a summary, it is important for us to remember to not overcommit over 2 supports too early. And this is one of the mistakes I made by getting my Fischl over level 60. We want to get a character as a support maximum no more than level 60. Because this can unlock all of the talents with the talent 1 and the talent 2. By getting to level 60, you can still unlock the character to the ascension level to 70. You do not have to get a support character over level 60. The reason for this is that most of the support characters will be switched on the field, do their spells, and switch out of the field. It is likely our main characters like the DPS characters or maybe Jin, who's going to sustain on the team, will be having the highest level to reduce the damage she takes from enemies. For our support characters, they just have to cast their spells, and they are not very stat dependent. They want the percentage of elemental mastery, they want percentage of energy gain, which is not dependent on their level. Now we can also make the similar argument for the support characters. They do not have the highest level weapons or the artifacts. Of course your stats will suffer a little bit, but it is not the biggest thing. You might be healing for 1000, you might be healing for 800. So the biggest difference isn't that much, and this can save some of your crucial resource in the early stage of the game. To summarize this video, I do believe Diona is very flexible. The ability to have shield and also the ability to heal and debuff enemy with cryo. After that, Fischl and Sucrose are very consistent. Bennett is more of a stat-heavy character that requires a lot of good stats, because the higher attack he has, the more benefit you get out of him. And finally for Barbara, she is a hidden star that we shouldn't be ignoring, because most of us will be getting her to higher constellation level, and even at constellation level 1, she can be a very good healer for the Spiral Boost as your second healer. Now if you found this video helpful, make sure you subscribe and also turn the little bell on for the latest news. I'll be looking towards to make more builds, guides, tips and news and event updates for us as we come further into the game. And as always, I wish you guys the best of luck with Genshin and have the most fun in exploring this wonderful world.